Alright, so we got the John Deere 3025e here, and we're going to do the front axle service. This may be different from your John Deere, but this one has one fill. Some of them have two. It's going to be this yellow plug right here, and then we're going to have a drain plug in the middle and one on each wheel. Alright, so right in the middle here, the axle, we have the main drain plug, and then like I said, you're going to have one at the bottom right there on each one of the wheels, the left and the right wheel. It's a 1/4 inch hex. That may be different again depending on the type of John Deere you have. The axle is warm. I drove it down the highway and the road speed in the high range, so I got everything nice and warm. So we're going to open up the cap and then we will begin draining the oil. So that's the fill plug. We're going to use that also as our vent here, so we're going to open that up. I'm just using my, I don't know if you can hear that, there's a little bit of vacuum there. Probably because the machine was sitting in the garage, which was about 60 degrees, and the outdoor temperature was close to 90. So we had some nice sweaty floors going on for a while here with this concrete, trying to get the building to catch up with the outdoor temperature. So like I said, I'm just gonna pop that out so that it doesn't airlock, and hopefully it drains relatively quick, and then we will drop the center drain plug. Alright, so the drain pan I'm using has been wiped out with paper towel. It's dry and clean, so whatever we find, if there's any dirt or metal or anything, whatever we end up finding, well, that wasn't very tight, should hopefully show up in the pan here. Yeah, there must be like an O-ring on this or something. Yeah, there's an O-ring, so those don't go very tight. That's why it wasn't like wedged in there. Alright, so we're gonna let that, oh, drain plug must be magnetic. There's a little bit of stuff on the end of it. It's nice. Alright, so next we're gonna drain the left side. I would have an adequate size container. I know when I did the X738, I was really surprised how much the ends held. The middle not so much, but the ends seemed to hold a lot. I can't get the container close enough, so I took a piece of old oil container and kind of cut it into a plastic diverter there. So hopefully we get most of it in the pan. Alright, so again, we're just using our 1/4 inch Allen here to get this broke free. Am I going the wrong way? I think I am. Yeah. I was gonna say it shouldn't have been that tight. Overall, the oil looks pretty clean. I'm assuming this one is probably the same way with the O-ring on it. And this one, oh, there we go. This one also has quite a bit of sludge on the end. These plugs must be magnetic. Ooh, that's dirty. The last bit that came out was pretty brown. There's actually quite a bit of stuff in there. Huh. The service interval for this is 600 hours. I'm only at 162 hours at this point, but I have it back now, and I'm just, the next time it comes back is probably going to be 2 or 3 years from now if I do end up bringing it back from the woods. So I figure I'm just going to do it now, get it done, and I shouldn't have to worry about it 3 years or so from now. Alright, so that's the center drain plug there. Oh yeah, there's definitely a magnet on that. So that's what that one looks like. This again is going to be the left one. Oop. So that one you can see has actually got a decent amount of sludge on it. Quite a bit of fines. So I'm going to have to put this left one in so I can drain the right. So I'm going to just clean this off, and then we'll hop to the right side. Alright, so let's do the right side here. Got that pretty loose in there. And we're gonna hopefully measure the amount here after we got everything out, just to see. It's supposed to take 1 gallon, and we'll see how close we get. If it's a little less or a little more. Yeah, this one's pretty gunky too. So yeah, definitely don't try to use a small container to catch that. There's a lot. This whole wheel end here is probably full. So we're also going to talk about the type of oil that it takes, because there was some discrepancy with that with the dealership. All right, so for the type of oil, the specification for the front axle here. So it says John Deere High Guard or John Deere Low Vis High Guard, and that's based on this chart here. And the dealer was telling me that it should be just regular old High Guard. And if you look at the temperature ranges from about above -4 to 122 degrees, and the low vis goes all the way down to -40 and up to 104. So in Wisconsin here, there are very few days where we are in that 104 range. And there are definitely days when I'd be operating the tractor where it's below 4 degrees Fahrenheit. So I didn't want to use the High Guard like he suggested. Also, under the hood, the front axle, it says it uses J20D, which is low vis, whereas the High Guard is J20C. He told me that the J20D is an old 60s standard that nobody uses anymore, but based on this chart here, it says the low vis is the J20D, so that's what I'm using. I'm using the High Guard low vis, or low viscosity. Alright, so if you look at the approximate fluid capacities for front axle, it says 4 quarts, which would be 1 gallon, and there it's showing the type of fluid to be J20D Delta, which is the low viscosity. Alright, and this is what the plug looks like from the other side. So again, there's a nice thick layer of goo on here. Quite a bit. So we'll get that cleaned off, and then we'll put that in and we'll start the filling process. Alright, so there's the oil in the pan. It's kind of hard to see. There are some minor like swirls in there, so there's some sort of contaminant. I don't know if that's condensation or maybe some fines or something like that. So overall it looks pretty green otherwise. And like I said, this pan was clean, so we're going to dump it into a gallon container now and we'll see where we're at. Alright, so I'm going to call that a gallon. In the bottom of the pan here, you might be able to see there is some fine metallic stuff. It's got to be from break-in or whatever. So, and like I said, it says 600 hours on the tag here. Alright, so before we start filling, where we fill is also going to be where the air has to vent. I checked both wheel ends and neither one has a vent. My X738 had vents on each end of the wheel, which was nice, so when you poured, the air had a place to escape. I did check these, and there is a flat spot that looks like where a vent could be if it was drilled and tapped, but because this is an E-Series tractor, I'm sure they didn't spend the extra money to drill and tap those vents in. So we're just going to have to be extremely slow when we pour. Also, this is the only place to pour it in. Some tractors have fills on both sides. There again, you'd kind of have air to vent, but because of this, we're going to only be pouring in on this one side and venting. So I would go slow. All right, so this again without having a different funnel, it's kind of hard to get in with these giant gallon containers, especially trying to pour slow. So I'm kind of just watching it here to see. Alright, so to get the oil to drain to each wheel end to make sure that it's actually filled, I'm just going to lift the wheel on each side here. I got the loader holding the tractor off the ground. I'm just trying to get those filled up. I had the plug here tightened up. I'm just going to loosen it here so I can see it. I can see it in the hole here. The oil is right to the top and it's kind of like chugging, so it's obviously slowly filling because it's got air in there again. So we're just going to kind of hold it up on each side here a little bit to hopefully speed up the process. The book states that I think you're supposed to give it like an hour to, yeah, it's chugging again, to fill each end, and then you're supposed to operate it a little bit and then wait an hour again and check it again, just because of the whole process here. So we're just going to kind of let this do its thing, and then we'll do the final check here. Alright, so here is the procedure in the book. So at the bottom there where it says important, it says drive tractor 1 minute at low speed in both forward and reverse to help fill the wheel ends. Like I said, what we just did should be good as well. I also spun the tires while I had it up in the air there. And then it says allow oil 1 hour to settle before checking level to ensure accurate dipstick reading. Repeat oil level after several hours of operation. So obviously you want to be getting that air to purge out. Alright, so I did already check this. The procedure is you let it sit for 1 hour for the oil to settle after operating it, and then you check it, and then you can operate it several hours and check it again. That's what the book says. When I did first open it, there was air hissing again, so I'm not sure why this thing isn't vented. Yeah, we look like we're just above the full mark here, a little high. I'm just going to leave that for now. We took approximately a gallon out, we put a gallon in, so we'll let everything kind of settle out. The more we drive it, I'm sure it'll all settle in. But back to why they don't have this thing vented, I'm not quite sure. They could easily put a vent on the top here and then, you know, run a hose up to the motor with a U so that you can't get water or dirt in there. Why they don't vent that, I'm not sure. That kind of baffles me. Alright, so that's going to complete the front axle service on the John Deere 3025e. That'll be it for now.